Things are changing when you talk about social media and those sorts of things. So we have to pay more attention to that. And I understand the concepts. I understand all the studies that's been done. I was born and raised in Kansas City, and I understand how it works. As you go out there in the community, and I've been out there since Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I was out there this morning, and Sunday I was at the vigil. But when you talk about these things and you listen to some of the people out there standing on the corner, I can guarantee you these black males that we're trying to connect with that have the information, they're not going inside a can center with a couple of white officers. They're not. That's just the way it is, and I know it sounds good, and we can say we can put one over here, but again, and everywhere I go, whether it's Home Depot, Quick Trip, everybody has an idea about how to fix us. But I've been here long enough, almost 31 years next month, where I can tell you what we need to do. I can tell you what we need to do. We need more people, fund more people. When you talk about homicides, 109th and McKinley, when I went through there the other day where a young lady was killed by her partner, look at the trash that's out there. I can kind of describe an area where homicides are occurring. Look at the trash, look at the street lighting, look at the sidewalks, look at the streets. A lot of those things can be fixed. So rather than spending money on sending 2 officers or putting 2 officers in a can center where they're sitting there all day, need to be knocking on doors. I knocked on a door yesterday at one of the businesses on Prospect. Been seeing the guy most of my life, adult life. Never met him though, I knew who he was, and other people, and he's a white guy that owns a business. The business has been there since I was a little kid. Went in there and introduced myself. We need more of that, because that's where you get the connections. And we talk about people not giving us information about homicides. Look at the TIPS hotline. Look at their numbers. People are calling in, giving us information. It may not be enough to solve the homicide. Look at the homicide teams we go to, some of us. People are coming up telling some things, but it's not enough to solve the homicide. So again, I think when we talk about, and I go to these groups and they said the no snitch deal, I don't want to say people are snitching, but people giving us information. Not what we need to solve the homicide, but we keep doing the same old thing. We won't change policy. You know, I talked about the captain promotion process. We won't change policy, and we get all that fight on these. People are looking for people like us, black people. When I talked to some pastors this weekend, they said, Darryl, can you come to my church on Sunday? I said, too short of a notice. I can send somebody. Well, if they're white, we don't want them to come. There's some division in the neighborhood. There's division in the organization. We have to talk about those things. We have to talk about those. We can come to the meetings. You're not going to get a lot of people at the meeting here to stand up and talk about what's going on in the community. Not a lot of people unless we're elected officials or me or somebody like that, unless there's a critical issue. But I guarantee you in the future there'll be other people coming to board meetings, because I've been telling people, come and share your concerns. I can share them on their behalf, but I don't think you get the same impact. We need some people to say, we want some more people to look like us, or we want some more people that's going to be fair out there. There's a lot of issues going on out there. Racism's real. It's in housing, banking, sports, education, politics. Why would anybody think we would take an oath and that would go away with some of us? We have issues, and we have to talk about those issues internally. And I'll share some things with you real quick. I wasn't going to talk today, but I'm going to talk. But being a black chief, I've gone through some other things that other black chiefs never had to go through. Whether it be an email that was intercepted about, let's start the sexual harassment emails on Darryl and get them to the media. And the plan was, I found out later, you do enough of those, and then they're going to come out publicly and say, well, nobody's doing anything to address all these allegations with Darryl, even though there are none. But put it out there. Had nails in my tire at home. Had a letter in my mailbox that said, dead man walking never. So I'm dealing with some things other people didn't have to deal with. And this is from police personnel. Most of them are retired, because I know some of them are. And they have a meeting at a restaurant to talk about, let's do this to Darryl, let's do this. It's orchestrated. Anytime we want a policy change, guess what? You can sit at the table and say we want a policy change, but we don't care what they say here. We'll make an end run around Darryl. I go through it, and I'm not complaining, because I've been black all my life. I've been in Kansas City all my life, so I understand how it works, and I knew what I was signing up for. Yeah, I'm sure. I've been in Kansas City all my life, but we have to talk about some of these things, and I didn't come out with a lot of those things. This is the first time in my career, but when I was going through the chief selection process, I had to have my wife and my oldest daughter go to the firing range to learn how to shoot a gun because of some threats and things like that. I didn't come out because that would have been the headlines. Chief candidate is going through some things. So again, there's a lot of things I deal with as a black chief that other people didn't have to deal with. So the same things happen to me here. What are they doing to people out there one-on-one contacts? And it's not about a can center. It's about our hearts. It's about our hearts. And I figured out a long time ago, I can say what I want to say. I'm not afraid of any man or woman, and I know there's retaliation when you come out and you speak like this. But my thing is, if I don't say it from where I sit now, who's going to say it? Nobody's going to ever say it. I mean, I can name a lot of things that happen to a lot of people throughout my career where I watch people get picked off. And I'm talking about black people. They get picked off. One person don't like you. Guess what? Everybody teams up against you. Now you have no credibility because you were doing good for 10 years. Now your career's over because one person didn't like you. And again, when you talk about me sitting here as the chief, and I know things we're going to do, wave a wand and things we're going to change. We're doing a lot of good things. And I say we, not by myself. And I guarantee you, our organization is comprised of mostly fair people. mostly fair people, but that's not good enough. We need all of us to be fair. You know, and I'll give you an example. Airline, aviation pilot. Would you want to be on the plane with the 5% that couldn't fly? And then everybody's saying, well, most of the pilots are good. You don't know which one you're going to get. They don't know which one they're going to get when we walk up. I can point to some people in this organization that, with regards to the rank, and I can tell you who's fair or perceived to be fair or not fair. We have some issues out there, and in the last 3 days, it's been on my heart, 4 days since Thursday. It's been on my heart when you talk to people in the field. And that real fear, when mothers send you something on social media and they're saying, what should my son do? He just started driving and I'm fearful for him. What should he do? Radio station asked me a couple days ago, can you come on and tell us what people need to do when they're stopped, our young black males? We shouldn't even have to have that dialogue. We should treat everybody fairly. And we're not doing a lot wrong in Kansas City, don't get me wrong, but anything that happens in this nation, guess what? Our face is on it too, because we law enforcement, and people don't forget what we've done over the years. We're getting better, but we're not where we need to be. That feeling of guilt from some people out there that I've talked to recently, saying, I wish I would have gotten involved earlier. Because I feel that pain when you're talking to them and you have a 30-year-old male standing on the corner, he has tears coming out of his eyes saying, what are you going to do, Darryl? What are you going to do? It's that fear. And that injustice, real and perceived. You know, it's some real injustices out there we've seen recently, and I don't know all the details about the incidents recently, but there's some real injustices out there, and people are sitting back. The guy that's been in Kansas City 64 years I talked to yesterday, he said, man, nothing's really changed. And their perception is, this is a white man's police department. You can do all you want to do, say all you want to say, but they still gonna make the rules in the end. And that's what made me bring up the policy about the captain's promotional process. We have a way to go through that thing. We have a policy we present to you all. Now we got to go through a different way to get to it, because I know there's been some in-runs from different people. Things like that. That's why things don't change. And that's why 50 years from now, there's somebody be sitting there talking about the same thing, because law enforcement is slow to change, especially police. When you talk about police, policing is changing all around us. It's changing all around us, but guess what? We're slow to change, and we want to fight every change. When you talked about tactical disengagement, guess how many people came to me and said, well, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, you know, that it's being cowards. Now I think it's been embraced a little bit more, but when you have an organization like this and people are just sitting back saying, nope, we want to keep doing what we've been doing. We don't change until it involves us being sued and we have to pay off money, or we have a large group of people come in and say no more, and then we want to sit together and then we want to get a commission. Now we want a town hall meeting when people are burning down downtown in other cities. That's what's happening. We've been fortunate here, but we're still one incident away from things going badly for Kansas City. So we got to work every day, and we got to not go back to what everybody else is doing. I dread hearing that comment, in this city they're doing this. Let's do what's right for us, and let's be real. Let's talk about the real issues, and let's keep this thing moving. Because again, I remember 31 years ago almost, we're sitting around talking about the same thing. Black on black homicides and how police abuse people in the field. And I guarantee you, most of us, which is not good enough, treat people fairly. We here because we care. We got a professional group of people, civilian, law enforcement, professional group of people, but that's not good enough. And when it's time to change some things, we got to change even if it hurts. People are dying, and they talk about Black Lives Matter. I talk to all kind of police personnel all around the country, including chiefs. They have a problem with that state, Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter. And I'm not going to say everybody else matter either, because I think as black people, we want to throw that out there to make it look like we fair with everybody. We're fair, but you look at the problems that we face and we've overcome as blacks. Look at what we face, and now they see over and over us being treated unfairly on television. This is nothing new that's happening now. This is nothing new in America. Now it's being captured on video. Now people are speaking up about it. Now people aren't afraid anymore because they're not afraid of the police like they used to be, and I don't want them to be afraid. You talk about the fear, you talk about the injustice, you talk about the guilt of people not getting involved earlier. Things are changing all around us, but guess what? We're sitting here and we're digging our nails in, saying, nope, we're not going to change for whatever reason. We can think of every reason in the world not to change. And when I came on, there's probably about 130 blacks on this job. It's probably about 160 now. It hadn't changed a whole lot, and we've gotten down, I think, to 140s, 150s. It's a reason we're there, because we keep looking at things like this. And when you change the way you look at things, you change the way you see things. And I keep saying over and over to everybody I talk to, we're all messed up. We're all messed up. We're no better, the police, no better than City Hall, no better than anybody else. We're all messed up, but let's just come together and figure out how we're gonna make this thing to work, and then challenge our assumptions. I said that at the last board meeting, CYA, challenge your assumptions. We come with some stuff. All of us come with some stuff, and none of us have it figured out, and I wouldn't be here, and I probably wouldn't have lasted this long without the people at this table. You know, and you look at the diversity at the table, but oftentimes when you, and I'm not gonna talk about some of the litigation I'm in, but sometimes if those who feel they're entitled don't get what they think they should get, now it's a lawsuit. Because how dare you give it to somebody else based on this? So I'm gonna keep doing what I think is right, whether I'm here another 2 days or another 10 years. I'm gonna keep doing what's right. I'm gonna keep talking about how people are getting treated out there. And we started a long time ago talking about how people are getting treated internally. We talked about the wellness piece. We're doing something about it. We have a commander, that's all he does. That's his job, to put these things together about the wellness. We can talk about the crime, we can talk about the budget, we can talk about other things. If we're not well, guess what? We're not gonna serve the other segments of the community the way we should. So we're gonna talk about us, and we're gonna talk about some real issues. Again, I wasn't gonna talk today, but I talked too long already. Thank you.